What's going? Oh, probably should put me on full screen. Hey guys, look at that. We're live on no editing here. Welcome to another Inside the Horseshoe. I am Matt Beer, your host for today. We're going to be talking about some of the trade rumors coming up because the deadline is on Tuesday, including Stephon Gilmore, and then we're going to give our picks into for Week 8, as well as go over the picks for last week and see where everybody lines up. So I'm going to introduce everybody just based off who I see right next to me, and that person would be Steve the Pirate. Steve, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good, Excited to be talking about some NFL football today. So I haven't heard no rumors about trades, so I'm interested to hear what's going on. So
Definitely. And Big Ten football did come back. We saw Michigan have a very good first game against Minnesota. Now they play against Michigan State, so we'll see how that goes.
Who lost to Rutgers?
Yeah, who lost to Rutgers, which you never know. Maybe Rutgers is maybe they're going to win the national championship this week.
That was their first conference win in 2 years.
True, that is true.
So,
and it was awesome, and I thank them because I bet on the over, and it definitely went on the over. So thank you, Rutgers, for actually coming and playing. Next, we're going to introduce Alec. How are you doing, Alec?
What's up? I'm good, man. You want to know why? Because this week the Texans can't lose. Let's go. A lot of trade rumors have been going on. Probably like the loudest and busiest it's been in a long time in the NFL. You don't hear about a lot of NFL big-time trades, so I'm excited to get into those.
Absolutely. I am very curious to see how that ends up going. Hopefully Colts can grab a piece or two for the team to build
Texans
on.
Are involved. Texans are involved in a lot.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you guys want to give up Kenny Stills for a 7th-round pick, I'll take that. But we're going to introduce our guest for today. Hopefully he can come on for multiple shows. It is Jonathan the Raptor Peck. How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm very good, Matt. As a proud fan of the Washington football team, and best come out the victory over the Dallas Cowboys. So very good right here. We're going out of bye week, so basically no trouble and no losing so far. So very good, man.
Definitely. Look, some people probably would have thought maybe that was an upset to me. When I looked at that game, seeing how they played against Arizona, and then obviously not having Dak in the defense, I kind of thought to myself, look, Washington's going to win that game. It would actually be an upset if Dallas won that game. And then they lose Andy Dalton in that game, and you have, was it Ben DeShawney, whatever? I don't even know. He doesn't matter. Duchini, or I don't have him in there. I don't know. He's a rookie from Ivy Tech.
James Madison, my sister's college, by the way.
Oh, hey, there we go.
University.
All right. So I mean, look, Texans can't lose this week is not on video. It's all good enough. No, I figured Washington was going to win this week. So, before we get into the trade rumors and going over what everybody has as far as the rankings so far for their picks, I want to go over some of the games that we didn't really see that outcome happening. I'll go around real quick. I'm going to go to Steve first. What was a game that happened this week that you saw that you didn't expect it to go the way it did?
well, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Lions and the Falcons because I had the Lions winning, but once I was like, oh, they're just going to kick the game-winning field goal, and then they scored that touchdown, and Matt Stafford drives down the field in a minute with no timeouts, scores, and wins by 1 point. That was like the most excited I've been watching the Lions play in a while. So I was just really excited about that.
Yeah, I did have Atlanta just simply because they looked so good against Minnesota. I really regret picking them that week because Detroit is a pretty good team, I think. I don't think Detroit's bad. I just think, there's some things that happened this year that really affected them in a negative way, like the Bears game, for example. They lose, they blow a lead. Were they up like 14?
Yeah, 14. Points? They was up 14 against the Saints and lost that one.
Yeah, so it's like they are better, I think, than what the record says, and they're 3-3. And anybody who says that Detroit's bad, I gotta really disagree with them because you got Matthew Stafford, and he has a good receiving core with him too. It's Galladay and Marvin Jones. So, I do think they're great, or not great, but I do think they're a pretty good team. Um, for you, Alec, what was a upset that you saw?
I mean, I don't even know if it would necessarily be an upset, but a surprise for me would be, the Seahawks and the Cardinals going all the way to overtime, and the Cardinals pulling out the win. And thing is, both teams playing fantastically. It's not like Russell Wilson came in and had a bad game. They just both offenses were on, and came down to who got the last field goal, and it turned out to be the Cardinals. But that was a great game. The Cardinals have been kind of disappointing, and maybe a few of their games have been very disappointing. But then they come out against, and it seems like they're doing it every week. Every time they play their division, anytime they play their division, they come out and they look like they are legit contenders. But then they go up against the Panthers and look like trash. It's just it's very on and off. But they looked great, and that Kyler to DeAndre Hopkins connection is looking better and better every week, and I am getting sick of hearing about it.
No, I get you. That really was. That might be the game of the year so far, and that could stick as game of the year once the season's over.
And DK speed, man, like come on.
God, yeah. Look,
jeez.
I mean, he might be the fastest player like in the league. He really might be.
People were saying maybe put him and Tyreek Hill in a straight on like race and see how they do.
Like,
I don't know, man. He might.
Yeah, I mean that burst he had was just like insane, man. It was just like bam right there. He was just there. It was crazy.
A man that big shouldn't move like that.
No.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, that game could have ended completely different if it was an overtime, the Isaiah Simmons interception. If Russell Wilson would have waited literally 1 second longer, he would have had Lockett open for a touchdown. That would have ended the game right there. Like because if you watch the replay, when he goes to throw it, I don't know if he's throwing it at him because he's going a completely different way. It looks like, but it looks like as he's throwing it, you see Lockett just break free. If he would have just waited a second longer, would have had that touchdown, I think, and that would have ended the game. But no, that's game of the year right now. Might end up being the best game of the year when the season's over. It was truly incredible. So I'm going to go to Jonathan now. What was a game that you saw that you would consider an upset?
I would not say upset, but I think it's for like finally sort of step it up after a sluggish start. I'm actually going to pick the 49ers versus the Patriots. And the reason I said that, because y'all know pretty much the 49ers started the year. Most of their stars got hurt. They both are out of the year. Before out of the year. And Jimmy G got injured. Look a bit stale right here when he got back. Even though he got wins against the Rams right here. There were sort of little question marks along with it that he's going to be the same 49ers along with it. And they compare with the competitive NFC West. And we saw it with the Patriots, and we just saw it's still the same 49ers we saw from last year, though. There was going to be no super hangover of it. So I think that's my little, you could call upset along with it, even though I don't feel like it. Oh, I know I'll put another one up there, but that's all I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I looked at that game, I did pick the 49ers to win, but I can see it being an upset because, you have Bill Belichick on your and when you have Bill Belichick as your coach, you're not going to really see him lose, I guess, multiple games or lose like that. And then, I mean, Cam Newton he looks completely different after he came back from COVID, and that whole team in general just doesn't look good. They don't have any receivers to catch the ball. So, I mean, like, I think we're starting to see kind of what I thought, to where I think New England is going to be more towards the bottom of the league, not like top 5 worst teams, but, like bottom 10, bottom 15, maybe. But it's like, Cam Newton's going from a team that really didn't have much protection for him, but still had some guys to throw to to a team that has nobody to throw to besides Edelman, but Edelman I don't think is as reliable as he once was. And Cam Newton's obviously not Tom Brady, so he can't really make something out of nothing. You got to kind of give him, another guy or two, kind of like, once Michael Thomas was out, how Drew Brees looked for a little bit. It's kind of like that for Cam Newton, where he needs a safety blanket. He needs a guy he can really rely on. I can't really think of any upsets, though, for me this week outside of what was already mentioned. But I do want to bring up that Cincinnati-Cleveland game because if it wasn't for the Seahawks game, that might have been game of the year. Like just how it all finished and everything. That I think the Detroit and Atlanta game was also up there too, but like that game was it was awesome. I loved it. Especially it was weird because Odell was out pretty early in that game, right?
Yeah, it was like the first possession.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird to see Baker after the first quarter or maybe even a little bit of the second quarter. He went like 22 for 23 in that game. Like he looked really good after a little bit in that game. And I don't know, maybe it's Cincinnati's defense, that might have played a part into it because they're not quite there yet. But I am very curious for their next few games coming up to see how Cleveland does and see if Baker can actually maintain what he was doing the last few weeks. But we'll have to see, of course. But I do want to bring up, before we get into some of the trade rumors, I do want to show everybody where we're lining up right now with our predictions, see if there was any changes based on the rankings and whatnot. So I'm going to bring that up real quick. Well, bam, there it is. Almost clicked the Ratatouille poster. Would not have worked out. Would have been a bad decision on my end. But still at number one is me. Didn't have my best week, but hey, I'll take 9-5. I'm at 72, 32, and 1. Matty G is starting to catch up. He is 70, 34, and 1. Then we have Jacob at third, who jumps ahead of Alec by one game at 67, 37, and 1. Alex sits at fourth after having an 8-6 week with a record of 66, 38, and 1 on the year. Then we have Kevin, who had a really good week at 11-3. He jumps to 64, 40, and 1, creeping up to Alec. We'll see if he can jump ahead of Alec this week. Then we have Bruce, who was able to, who actually didn't have as good of a week as Steve. He's at 9-5. He is 57, 31, and 1 for the year. Then Steve had the best week out of anybody with 12-2. He is at 57, 31, and 1. And both of them are actually really close to getting to Kevin. I thought for a second they were ahead. I forgot to add Kevin's 11-3 on the record beforehand. So Kevin is still ahead. But Bruce, Steve, you guys are creeping up on him. We'll see how this week goes for him. And then we have Jonathan after 2 weeks, a very good 12-2 as well, tied with Steve for the best picks of the week. He is 18-10 on the year out of these first 2 weeks. Obviously, if we had Steve, Jonathan, and Bruce, might be a very different list right now. Looking at it, one of them might be first, or I might be first still. Who knows? We'll see. And who knows? Don't know if Jonathan can catch up unless some people have a really bad week just because he did come in partway through the year. But he might actually be able to pass Bruce and Steve, depending on what happens with them too. And Bruce and Steve could end up passing some of us as the year goes on too. So got to get those picks being good, guys. So there's that. So now I do want to go into some of the games this upcoming week real quick. We'll get our thoughts on every single game, all that good stuff. And we're going to start with tonight's game as Kevin's Atlanta Falcons go to Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Falcons are 1-6 and the Panthers are 3-4. Teddy Bridgewater is starting to click in Carolina. Matt Rule is starting to do some good things in Carolina. So I do want to start with Steve on this one. Who do you have in this game?
Well, I like Carolina in this one. You just can't trust Atlanta, man. Atlanta, they could have the best offense if they use it correctly. They have some of the best, receivers in the league, I think. But they just can't connect. That defense is just not that good. I mean, I was very shocked how well they played Detroit defense-wise. I was expecting Matt Stafford to throw all over them, but he didn't really. So they looked better than I thought they was. But I just think that Teddy Bridgewater has a great receiving core to throw to. And, Mike Davis been playing really good with them since McCaffrey's still hurt. So I think that Carolina's going to win probably by 10 points.
All right. That very well could happen. So we're going to go to Alec on this one. Who do you have in this game?
I also have the Panthers. I think that receiving core and Teddy Bridgewater are going to have a field day with this Falcons secondary. If you have Teddy Bridgewater, please make sure you start him because he's going to have a hell of a game. DJ Moore is fantastic, and then Robbie Anderson too. They're having great years this year, and yeah, I don't really see the offense is still clicking in Atlanta, but it's hard when you have to basically outscore your opponent and score on every possession. It becomes extremely tough, and it's starting to weigh. I think it's starting to weigh on them. They're making mental errors that they probably wouldn't be making if they had a good defense. So, yeah, Panthers this week. Matt Rule is having a very good start to his NFL career for sure, and we'll see how that continues this week.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go to Jonathan on here. Who do you have today?
Same thing. I'm going to pick the Panthers. And same thoughts as both of you. Teddy Bridgewater is the key and major difference of this game, along with his receiving core. And basically, Atlanta just really had many opportunities to do all of that. It just felt like nothing had gone right. Just literally nothing had gone right. It just felt like there's like a huge burn about them. Just keep them every time since their Super Bowl. If their Super Bowl loss, just felt like this huge burden along with it. So I don't know what you're going to do for the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe tank for Trevor, or just basically just screw it. Just like we just rebuild everything. So it is sort of like a lose-lose.
True. But before I go to my pick, breaking news on my end. One, I forgot to discuss trade rumors with you guys. And two, I was checking my fantasy football. Michael Thomas was cut. I picked him up. Look at that, Michael Thomas. You are on my fantasy team. And I now have the greatest fantasy team, maybe in history. Maybe. I don't know.
Who cut him?
World cut him?
Somebody in my league. I don't know why. He hasn't played since week 1, so they're like, well, he hasn't played. But here's Tyler Boyd available. I'll take him, and I'll cut Michael Thomas. Oh. And then Michael Thomas practices today, so that's good. So I'm going to give my pick, and then we're going to actually go to some trade things because the whole point of the show is to discuss some trade stuff too. And the thumbnail is Stephon Gilmore, so we do need to discuss that. But I got Carolina in this game. I like what they're doing. I do like Teddy a lot. I think Atlanta is a talented team, but unlike Dallas, before they lost Dak, instead of being down and then coming back, Atlanta seems to be up and then loses at the end. That always happens with Dallas or Atlanta. They looked really good against Minnesota, so I thought, oh, okay, they played quite well against Minnesota, who played, really good against Seattle. So, they should be able to carry that on to this week against the Lions, and they just couldn't do anything. It looked like they didn't score a whole lot. It was a low-scoring game for Atlanta anyway, and they lose that game. There's a reason why Detroit was celebrating when Todd Gurley scored a touchdown with like a minute left.
Yeah, a minute left.
So they knew Stafford was going to be able to come back and win that game.
Well, even Matt Ryan told Gurley to fall down. Like, he said, just fall down. Get the first one, fall down. And he just scored. So
he's like, just please don't score. But Todd Gurley, he wants that money, because I think he had potentially had some money on the line if he scored a touchdown. I think he would have gotten a little more money. So he needed that.
Having a similar thing with the Lions when he was at the Rams. Now, have you seen that old club? Like, he did a little similar thing on that before.
It's like I don't know. I mean, I think Todd Gurley's really good, but once you score that first down, you go down immediately. Once you get that first down, go down, end the game. It's done. Game over. But no, you scored a touchdown. Thank you because it helps my fantasy team, but doesn't help Atlanta. But I got Carolina. I think also DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I think they're gonna have a pretty good game today too. They're projected to get like 70 something yards each. Don't know if that's gonna happen necessarily. It would be very hard for both of them to do that. I do think DJ Moore's gonna have a big game though out of either one of them. So I'm going Carolina. I'm thinking around like 7 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout just simply because I do think Matt Ryan is going to be able to get some points on the board for Carolina or for Atlanta, and I think Todd Gurley is going to have a big game too. I just don't think Todd Gurley is going to be enough for Atlanta to win. So I mean, I got him by a touchdown. So we're going to bounce out of the predictions. We're going to get into trade rumors now because I'm an idiot and forgot to talk about them. So a big trade rumor that really has started to take off is Stephon Gilmore. He put his house up for sale. You can currently buy it if you go on Zillow. It's on there right now. It's I believe $999,000. So if you have $1 million, you can buy Stephon Gilmore's house. It's in Foxborough, guaranteed to be a good house. So if you want to get that, then there's that for you. But what are your guys' thoughts on Stephon Gilmore potentially being traded? Because Stephon Gilmore is what, 30? So, it's not like he's old. I mean, he's got a few more years where he's going to be able to, dominate. Like he just turned 30 in September.
I think it's kind of on brand with Belichick, man. I think Belichick. This is really the first person in a while that Belichick's given an actual like legit contract to, but it is getting later into his career. This is what Bill Belichick tends to do is get rid of them before they go down, before they lose their value, instead of keeping them for too long. So it's kind of on brand. I'm not sure. I mean, he'd be great at a bunch of places. I'm not sure who's calling. If the Texans had more capital, I would say please give him a call, but we ain't got nothing to give, so we can't really throw anything at them. But Belichick's not known for taking too little. He's known for kind of getting his value from players. So I wouldn't expect Bill Belichick rarely loses trades. So I'll just say that he doesn't ever really lose trades. He usually wins.
Definitely.
But I mean, I would love to see Gilmore wherever. I think he'd be great. He's still great.
It's a nice house. Look, I mean, if I had that money, I'd buy it. Look at that.
Well, that looks nice.
I mean,
I would probably paint the walls. It's too much white. It looks like I'm in.
Let's take a tour, guys. Let's do it. Let's do it after the game because maybe he'll be there. I don't know.
Maybe.
What time do they play this week?
They play at noon, I think.
So let's do 6:30. Let's do that. Steve, Jonathan, what are your guys' thoughts on Stephon?
Well, this is the first time I heard about this. I had no idea that there was rumors going around. Does anybody know like any teams that's looking into getting them? Or
I haven't heard
anything either. I would assume it's going to be a team that is going to be competing to win because Stephon Gilmore, his numbers are down. Like I think he only has a pick this year. He usually has more, but he's still really talented, I think. So I think a team like maybe Indy goes after him to give him another corner. Maybe Chicago. Miami might trade because they have a really good defense, and you add him on their roster, and that's just gonna, make that team even better. I think defensively.
Well, whoever did some, that's a big pickup by them because he's really good. So,
like he's definitely. I would still put him in the upper echelon as far as corners playing right now. I don't think he's the best corner. Tre'Davious White, I think is the best corner. From Buffalo, I think he is at the moment. but I still think he's really good and he can add a lot to your team. But Jonathan, what are your thoughts on Stephon potentially getting traded, and would you want him in Washington?
To answer the second question, I would love to because we lost Landon Collins for the year by torn Achilles, like that, and I think if he would go to Washington, I think it would be a good addition to our secondary because our secondary was sort of not very well. Though our D line is the best right here, but man, our secondary is a little iffy, a little average at best. And I think with putting him along with it will be a good idea. And also, even though you didn't put in the trade like a rumor report because Washington and Ron Rivera trying to contact Eric Reed because Ron knows him from Carolina right here. Even they offer him practice squad and he turned it down, but he was very interested in my joining maybe a full-time roster if the remote offer that role. So we are looking for a corner along with it. So adding him or Stephon Gilmore, I think it would be good improve for our little blowout secondary along with it.
Definitely. For me, I mean, I think it would be interesting if Indy got him. I don't think they necessarily need him because I do love Kenny Moore. I think Kenny Moore is quite possibly the most underrated corner in the league. Like he's very reliable. He can do a lot for you. Not only can he cover, but he can get to the quarterback and disrupt him from there. He's honestly one of my favorite players on that team. I like him a lot. And then you have Rhodes, who I think he's been playing pretty good. I don't think he's been playing great. He definitely was the first couple weeks besides the Jacksonville game, but he hasn't played as lights out as he normally has. And then you have Rock Ya-Sin, which I love him. He had that awesome tackle against Cincinnati where he basically just lifted up. I don't know if it was Boyd or one of their other receivers, just lifts him up because he used to wrestle in high school and college. He would just lift him up and just bring him down like you would in wrestling.
He tackled Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon.
Like
oh, okay. I thought it was a receiver for some reason. Maybe that's why Joe Mixon was a little banged up. He just kind of picked him up and just went bam, like you would see in wrestling. It was awesome. But I could see Miami going after him because Miami, I think, is in the running to potentially make a playoff run. I think it's going to depend on what Tua does because their defense has clicked and they've looked quite well. And besides their first game, they haven't been blown out. They weren't blown out by Buffalo or anybody else they played. It was all close. They almost beat Seattle.
They've got draft capital too.
Yeah, they got a lot of pieces, and New England definitely is going to need that draft capital because they're going to need to draft some weapons, assuming they keep Cam Newton, which they might not keep Cam. I guess it's going to depend what he does for the rest of the year. We'll see if he gets benched again this upcoming week. But no, I mean, I could see Miami going after him. I could see an NFC East team like Washington going after him because Washington's, in the running to win that division. I mean, they're all in the running to win the division, but not Miami. Washington's only down half a game from first, so they might make a run. So
currently right now we're having a bye week along with it, so I think we have some more time to not sort of rest up, but have more sort of skill for our time and how we're going to do it along with it. So.
Absolutely, because the trade deadline ends on Tuesday, which is a very interesting day for sure. Because you have that, you have the election, and all that stuff. And go vote. I don't care who you vote for. Go vote.
I just did. I did that on the way home.
Vote, you lazy fools.
If you don't vote, then you lose a limb. So keep that in mind. If you
do it now because you don't want to do it Tuesday.
Yeah,
don't vote right now.
I am voting Tuesday, but I do live somewhere where there's nobody that's going to be there when I usually go. So
you live in a city, do not wait because
if you're in a city, go vote. If you're in a town, you go vote whenever. Go in the morning. Go when it opens up.
Go like 4 in the morning right here. That's my best advice.
Yeah, I always go in the morning, and whenever I go, there's maybe one other person. So I don't know. Maybe if you live in a city and you can't vote till the 3rd, go in the morning. But yeah, vote or else you will lose a arm or a leg. No choice from you. So now we're gonna get into some of the trade rumors. Maybe some guys we see potentially moving, whether it's from our team or from other teams. And I do want to bring up a tweet. It was after Cincinnati Cleveland game of I think it's Duval or whatever that said his house was for sale, but he put it up on Twitter that his house was for sale. I'm gonna try to find that tweet real quick, but it was absolutely hilarious because obviously he obviously Cincinnati they blow that lead. They don't look great in the second half against Cleveland, and I'm trying to figure out who it is real quick. And I want to find Carlos Dunlap. That's his name. Carlos Dunlap put his house up on sale on Twitter. I'll pull up the tweet really, really quick. But I absolutely thought that was hilarious. Did you guys happen to see this tweet?
I heard about it.
Yeah, because
I haven't heard of it.
So I'm gonna.
Didn't the Bengals just trade somebody?
Yeah,
they just traded Dunlap.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So he deleted the tweet. It looks like. Yeah, he deleted the tweet, but I'm gonna go to Yahoo Sports. We'll see if they have an image of said tweet. Which I don't think they do. I think they deleted. But yeah, Carlos Dunlap put his house up for sale on Twitter. Here it is. I'll bring it up real quick. I don't think it's an actual tweet, but it's a copy of the tweet. So yeah. What are you doing? I don't care about your food.
Morse head. There you go.
Morse head.
Okay. Here we go. All right. 6,000 square foot city view with huge balcony, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bathroom. Why would you need that many bathrooms if you have only 4 bedrooms? Makes no sense to me, but whatever. And one of the best school districts for sale. Do your market analysis and make me an offer. Serious inquiries only with proof of funds. Owner is willing to sell furnished or unfurnished. So he was ready to get out. He was ready to get out. And I think it was Tuesday when they were going to go practice. The Bengals told him, "Hey, stay at home until we have you traded." So they were like, "You're done." They were basically saying, "Look, I get it. We lost. It's not fun to lose, but you put your house up for sale on Twitter. Get out. You're done. We don't want you." And they sent him to Seattle, which will improve Seattle's defense. I thought that was funny, though. I do want to bring up some guys, though, that have been rumored to be traded. Speaking of the Bengals, John Ross is, he's rumored to be traded. I guess he wants to be traded. He was a 2017 first-round pick. Didn't do a whole lot of things there. You have Avery Williamson from the Jets, as Jets are probably trying to just clean house at this point. Kenny Stills, speaking of Kenny Stills earlier, he's up for a potential trade. He's on the trade rumor. I heard Will Fuller was at one point. I don't think they're going to trade Will Fuller, though.
There's an update. Basically, the Texans said, if your name is not Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt, Laramie Tunsil, or Titus Howard, then you are available to be traded. Those are the only guys they said are off limits in trade talks. I personally believe that you shouldn't have J.J. Watt on that list. I think J.J. Watt should be not only looking to be traded, but we should look to trade him because that's a large number that'll be off the books. But apparently, I know everyone's gets sentimental about JJ. I get it. I was here for Harvey too. He did great things for this city, but I think he deserves a ring. And I think you could get. I know the Packers were inquiring about him, as well as Will Fuller. A bunch of teams are inquiring about him, but now that we get the kind of the report that he is on the no-fly list, basically, like if you mention his name, we'll hang up the phone type stuff.
Right. I mean, but with J.J. Watt, I mean, he's Houston. Like, he represents the Texans.
I get it.
He is the Texans. Well,
Trust me, I love him. I think he's fantastic. He gave us our first playoff win of all time. He was the very first playoff win. Again, he had that interception against the Bengals. It's his only interception, but it's still one of the greatest plays in Texans history. I get it, but as a large number on the cap space, I'm thinking about future coaches that want to come here, and we kind of have nothing to offer in terms of in terms of wooing a coach here, because there's no cap space, there is no draft picks, there's nothing. Like, basically, you got to wait 2 years before you get, or a year before you get to do anything. So, if people are willing to talk about him, like, why not field the calls? And Bill O'Brien's not running it, so no, they're not going to give him away for a Snickers bar. But but I mean, why not listen to calls? I don't get it. I don't get the idea of, especially because he's been tweeting and saying in press conferences how frustrated he is. I mean, he doesn't want to be here. I don't blame him.
I mean, like I said, I don't think they're going to trade J.J. Watt. I mean, because he represents it. But I do think Houston has something to offer for coaches, and that's a franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's
true. Unless they're like, look, we're 1-6, we're going nowhere. Let's trade him for draft value, like trying to get a top 5 pick and then a bunch of other picks. I don't think it's going to happen, but if they were to trade Deshaun, they could get a ton of stuff. You could probably get, a good, decent player to a bunch of draft picks.
You could.
Maybe it sounds crazy, but this is one of the guys I saw was rumored to go to the Colts even. And I don't think he'd like it, but let's say the Jets get the first pick. Maybe trade Deshaun for the first pick for maybe a second, third round, another first pick, and Sam Darnold.
Yeah, it's tough.
Interesting.
It's tough with me because I haven't I've been watching football before the Texans were even a thing. So we never had a franchise quarterback. It's hard to let go of one after it took almost 20 years, over 20 years to finally get one. So it's like, it's hard for me to let go.
Never had like Houston's history since arguably Warren Moon, basically.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And Warren Moon doesn't count with us anymore. He's that's Titans history technically.
Yeah, I know. In Houston lore, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, we've had a carousel of quarterbacks. It'd be nice to have a little bit of consistency and keep him here. The only reason I say JJ, like I said, is it seems obvious he doesn't want to be here anymore. Not because he hates the city, but just he's getting older. I think he deserves a ring. It kind of does hurt his legacy if he doesn't get a ring, because if he gets a ring, he's automatically up there with like maybe top 5, top 10 defensive players of all time. But it's just without that ring, and it's hard for people to talk about you.
Right. And like I said, I only brought the Deshaun Watson thing up because you can definitely get a lot for him. I don't think they're going to trade him. I was Houston, I wouldn't trade him because it's very hard to find a quarterback, like him.
The fact that he re-signed with Bill O'Brien still here was at least something. Because I mean, a lot of guys, I was saying he shouldn't have signed the extension because you got to deal with that guy, but he still did. He never backed away from he always backed up Bill O'Brien. He never really said anything. It was only JJ that said something about Bill O'Brien, but I mean, he's a good guy to have on your team.
Like maybe. I don't think JJ is going to get traded, but maybe trade him for, like I said, maybe another receiver or some draft picks. I mean, I wouldn't from Houston, but that's somebody that you could see. But as far as Will Fuller and Kenny Stills, as a Colts fan, well, yes, I would like to have somebody like Will Fuller on my team just because it adds to the receiving core. He does have injury issues. He hasn't had a significant injury this year, so I mean that's good, but he does have a history of injuries. Even at Notre Dame he had injury problems, which did drop his draft value because he would get hurt. But in Houston he can give you a lot of numbers. Like, he can give you good numbers, but he does get hurt a lot, so he
gets free a lot over the top.
So I mean, if I'm the Colts, if I was going to trade for Will Fuller, if he didn't have injury problems, I'd probably go second rounder, maybe first rounder, because that would help the offense. But now I'm thinking fourth, fifth, just because of the injuries. It does hurt. So
Yeah.
I do think if Houston trades him, they're not going to get a whole lot for him because of the injuries. Now, if he stays healthy, or if he was healthy, then yeah, I could definitely see a lot for him. But a couple guys, I do want to bring this up because Jonathan, you are a Washington fan. Somebody that has been on the trade block, or trade rumors anyway, for a long time, ever since he got benched and put on as the third string quarterback, is um, Dwayne Haskins. Um, what are you thinking about that? Because this is the second year. Ron Rivera is clearly not, you know, on his side, I guess is what you could say. And Kyle Allen has been playing pretty similar, if not a little bit better than Dwayne Haskins. If they traded away Dwayne Haskins, I don't think a lot is going to be offered for him because, he's third string quarterback now. How would you feel about that?
I'm two minds about this because, on the one hand, he didn't get a fair shake of it because considering when he got drafted, when he got positioned, not his rookie year, now for right now, all that stuff, that's a little unfair along with it. And also, on the other hand, once he got sort of the starting job, like if you follow on social media on Instagram along with it, he really lost a lot of the way. I thought he put up some of the work and effort along with it, might at least earn the starting job with it, even it earned team captain along with it. Even after that, he sort of stopped. If you believe some of the reports that he kind of sort of stopped doing it, like along with it, even sort of not focus on tape that much and not plays all of it through, and also kind of brag about stats, even though the team is sort of losing. It's sort of like kind of not only bench him along with that, you realize this is not legit our guy. And I know Coach Rivera said like we're not sort of giving up on him, but at the same time, I think you kind of need to sort of trade along with this about it. It's kind of like that's like the Cardinals like trade Josh Rosen to get Kyle Murray. So along with that, and regardless, we should trade. I don't know. Maybe the first one should we get a quarterback like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or even that quarterback from BYU? It's a really complicated process. So I'm not going to be surprised either or. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Dwayne Haskins being traded this year because we are less than a week until the trade deadline is up. I do think you're going to see more activity from the trade deadline. Um, I don't think Washington's going to get enough to where they'll be like, okay, we'll trade him, even though they've pretty much, it seems like they've given up on Dwayne Haskins. I don't know if this was Ron Rivera's way of being like, listen, maybe behind the scenes he's not doing the things he needs to do. Maybe he's just kind of screwing around, not taking this seriously. Maybe this is Ron Rivera's way of, teaching them something, and maybe they do have intentions of bringing him back later in the year to play. Assuming they think he's learned and they think he is improved as far as quarterback goes. But even if they do that, I think his confidence, even if he plays in Washington again, it's gone at this point because not only are you benched, you're put behind Alex Smith too, and now you're the third string. You're not even dressing for the games. So it's going to affect him, I think, in that sense. The only way I could see him getting traded at this point is a late round draft pick. Because, like I don't see a lot of teams giving up a first rounder or second rounder for a guy that's third string. And at this moment, it's probably safe to say if Washington drafts a quarterback, they're just going to let him go if nobody trades for him anyway. So, maybe a team that is somewhat interested but doesn't want to offer a whole lot might go, okay, we're somewhat interested. We got, let's say, I don't know, throw out Drew Brees. Let's say the Saints, when Drew retires, wants to get another quarterback. Maybe they don't think James Winston is the guy. They go, okay, Dwayne Haskins is going to be available. We don't want to offer a high draft pick, assuming that's what Washington wants. We're going to wait, and we'll just get him for free. unless they're gonna take like a late round draft pick. So like I would be shocked if he's traded at this point. That's the only way I could see it. I do want to bring up this guy though that is on the trade block, and it's Marvin Jones. What are your thoughts on that, Steve? Like, do
Well,
you
I
think?
mean, yeah, I just heard that the other day too about Marvin Jones considering being traded. I mean, he's been having a rocky year this year. I mean, he hasn't been doing bad, but he hasn't really been doing like he usually does. But I mean, I don't think we should the Lions should trade him. I think they should just because he's a good receiver. So I would be upset if they trade him. To be honest.
I mean, I think he's good. He's not the number one guy. He's clearly the
No.
number two receiver, maybe number three, I guess, depending on the day. He can still get you, good amount of yards. For how many times the ball is thrown towards him.
Yeah, he just keeps getting less and less targets a game, though. It seems like.
I mean, I could potentially see him getting traded, and I don't think his value with draft picks, if that's what they want. Maybe they're looking for somebody on defense or whatever. If you get a guy that's defensively, because they did just get that defensive lineman from Dallas, and he's gonna help their defensive line, I think, because he's not bad. It's that Griffin or whatever. They did just get him. I think maybe if they get another defensive guy, maybe they'll trade him. Maybe a pretty decent defensive player. I don't know who it would be. Maybe somebody on the level of I don't know. Let's say J.J. Watt does get traded. Let's say Detroit trades J.J. Watt for Marvin Jones and a draft pick. Is that something you and Alec would be for? Because obviously this aligns with what your team.
I would be. I'll take J.J. Watt like that.
You think maybe a first-round pick and
Yeah, it would depend on the pick because we already have a whole bunch of receivers. We got Cooks, we got Fuller, we got Cobb and Stills. It's a lot of receivers going around, and they're all getting touches. That's the thing is they're all getting their 3-4 receptions. Brandon Cooks is probably leading in receiving right now because of him and Deshaun are starting to pick it up. But I don't know, maybe. It depends on the pick for me, at least. Our biggest issue is on the defensive side, man. It's so bad. We're sad. I don't even know where we are in the defensive rankings, but we're dropping fast in passing. I think if it wasn't for the Cowboys, we would probably be last in defense right now. But yeah, our defense is really bad. So anything offensively, I'm not looking for. It's more defensive wise. We just need something. We need some kind of spark on the defense. I think we only have one turnover this year. We've only forced one turnover.
Maybe
it was a fumble that J.J. Watt caused.
Right, I know. They did play Green Bay though, so I mean it's hard to get turnovers from Green Bay.
Yeah, but we've had a killer schedule this beginning of the year. Our first 6 games are literally. Naming them off besides not all of them really. And I don't even remember who the hell we won against. But we played Chiefs, Ravens, Steelers, Vikings, and the Titans. I forgot the game that we won. I think it might have been the Jaguars. I think it was the Jaguars. Jaguars are the only game we won. Jaguars, Titans, and now the Packers. So. Yeah, it's been a tough first half of the schedule. We got a bunch of dynamic quarterbacks coming up. We still got to play Baker in that offense. We still got to play Joe Burrow. We got to play Justin Herbert, I believe. No, not Justin Herbert. Sorry. Play AFC North. So we still got to play those 2 guys, and then Detroit. We still got Detroit and Chicago. So there's a lot of dynamic quarterbacks are playing coming up soon. So defense is where I'm looking.
And you also got filthy Phillip Rivers coming up too. So
oh yeah, twice.
If he continues what he did last week and against Jacksonville, because if he throws it a lot, he can get you numbers. Like I think both in the Jacksonville and Cincinnati game, which were the 2 where he threw it a lot, he got over 350 yards in both. Like if you make him throw it more than you run, he's going to get yards. So you got him too.
We played
Ben Roethlisberger, who is usually guaranteed to throw the ball to you 3 times, and we still didn't get one interception. So
absolutely. But I do really quick before we get back into our picks and whatnot, because we're at the 50-minute mark and my food is actually currently ready. I do want to ask you guys, what is one position that you feel like your team needs, that you would love to see a trade happen for? We're going to go to Steve first. What would you like to see?
I think the Lions need another that corner, maybe a safety, because their defense ain't great. So yeah, that's probably.
Now we're gonna go to Alec. Who do you want to see Houston trade for, position wise?
Corner. We need corners. We have, Bradley Roby's serviceable, and then you have Hargraves, which is not good. Hopefully, we're getting Gary Conley back soon, but I would say a corner for sure. One or two, like a number 1 or number 2 corner is what we definitely need. We've been needing it for years.
Right. Okay. Now we're gonna go to Jonathan. Who would you like to see position wise?
Same thing as both of you. Mine's corner. We do need sort of like better safety in our corners. So, like I said earlier, our D line is good, but our safety corners is not that great.
Right. For me, I would say corner as well. I know a lot of Colts fans are going to say quarterback. Go for quarterback because you need a guy next year too. And my response to that is, Phillip Rivers didn't look great against Cleveland, but it wasn't just on him. Offensive line played pretty bad. The whole team played bad for the first half, and then defense picked it up and whatnot. But I wouldn't go quarterback. I would go cornerback because I don't trust Rhodes 100%. So I feel like if they can get a really good corner, maybe Stephon Gilmore, then you can kind of put, you put Rhodes in at one point. You could put Gilmore in. You can put, you have Rocky Sin come off the bench and have another guy come in. I know TJ Carey has been playing really well for what people thought he was going to play like. He's actually done much better. I know, Colts have issues on receiving too, or people thought they did, but tell you what, Marcus Johnson, keep an eye out for that name. Receiver, he came in, had 5 catches for 105 yards against Cincinnati. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, but I feel like if he got more, you would see numbers like that more often. Big body receiver, reliable. Michael Pittman's coming back for them. So that's a good thing.
Zach Pascal gives me good yards every week for me. I love Zach Pascal.
Me too.
And then if Paris Campbell didn't go down, he was on track to have a really good year too. Y'all got a great receiving core, I think.
I like our receivers, and they have Harris, new receiver. Don't like him because he took number 12 on the team. Don't like that. That should be retired for Andrew Luck because you destroyed a man's career. The least you can do is not let a player wear his number. But he's a really fast receiver too. Like he's really fast. So there's that. So I think they're fine receiver wise. Maybe if it's a 1-year deal, like a guy with just 1 year left on his contract, maybe running back would be another position I'm open for because you are missing Marlon Mack. And I do like Jonathan Taylor, and he is improving more as far as yards per carry. But you need somebody else to help him out because Hines, he's not doing great with yards per carry at this point. He never does. He's more of a receiving back. So I wish they would have got Le'Veon Bell. But corner, running back, that's what I would like for the Colts. I think Phillip Rivers is doing what he needs to do for us to compete for more than a playoff spot. So we'll see. So now we're going to move on to our Sunday games because, like I said, we forgot to talk about the trade rumors and whatnot. Wanted to talk about that because a lot of people would say clickbait if we didn't do that. So we're going to move on to our first 1 o'clock game, and this is quite possibly game of the week. It is Pittsburgh going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Pittsburgh's defense has been playing great. They've been looking really good. I know they almost blew that game against Tennessee, but Pittsburgh, one of the best teams in the league, the only undefeated team, is going to a Baltimore team which has Lamar Jackson and another really good defense in Baltimore. They have some good pieces there. Mark Ingram might not play. That is something to keep an eye on. So I'm going to go to Alex on this one. Who do you have between Pittsburgh and Baltimore?
It's hard not to go with the 5-0 Steelers, or 6-0 Steelers now, man. The only undefeated team left in the league. They seem to pick one off another. Even when Roethlisberger threw the ball to the other team 3 times in the second half, they still were able to pull it out. Best coach in the league, I'm gonna say it, over the Belichick right now. So yeah, I'm gonna go Steelers. They've been really good. This team, I saw somewhere that this is actually a record for times that 2 coaches have gone head to head with John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. I think this will be the 25th time. So that's insane to think of. These two guys have been on the same division for so many years, had crazy amounts of success. It would be another one, another barn burner with these 2 teams for sure. So to me, a hard battle, but I will go with the Steelers over the Ravens.
Okay. We're going to go to Jonathan. Before we do, though, I do hear an echo when everybody's talking. I do hear that on somebody's end. I don't know whose it is. But we're going to go to Jonathan real quick. So what we'll do is whenever somebody's talking, everybody else can mute, like whenever we're talking about the picks. That way, that doesn't happen. So we're going to go to Jonathan on this one. Who do you have between Baltimore and Pittsburgh?
I'm going to go Pittsburgh, or should I say Blitzburgh. I'm going to pick the Steelers to beat the Ravens because their front line right there is one of the best in the league. And I still think they're a very good receiving core along with it. And I think they will stop Lamar Jackson along with it. If they stop Derrick Henry along with it, I think they stop Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Alrighty. And I'm going to go Steelers as well. For me, I think Lamar Jackson is very good. I do like Lamar Jackson a lot. He's proving that, he's not like RG3. He's not like some of these other guys to where, like they'll have that rookie year where they look really good and then the second year they kind of fall off. Like he's been playing really well, I think. I don't think he's the MVP at this point. I do think when we're talking MVP, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, those are guys that are going to be in the conversation once we get to the end of the year. Maybe Dak Prescott if he would have stayed healthy and wouldn't have gotten hurt in that game. But Lamar Jackson's still playing really well. I feel like Pittsburgh's defense is going to be able to contain him. That defensive line that they got is very scary, and I think we'll be able to get to Lamar. Lamar, I don't think is going to be able to run quite as much as he normally would when he can't make the throw that he needs to make. So I got Pittsburgh in this game. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Pittsburgh wins 3 to 7 points. But yeah, and I think Big Ben's going to have a big game. So now we're going to go to Steve. Steve, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, well, I think people are forgetting how good the Ravens' defense is. Ravens have a good defense as well as Pittsburgh. I don't think they're as good as Pittsburgh, but I think Ravens' defense is really good. I think they're going to get pressure on Big Ben this week. And I think the week, since they had a bye week, the Ravens, they needed that bye week, I think. I think Lamar was hurt. I think he wasn't really running as much as he usually does. So I think hopefully he's 100%. I think he's going to be running a lot more and passing more accurately, giving the ball more to Mark Andrews. And I know Ingram's hurt, but this is the time to get J.K. Dobbins more involved, do some more options with him, get him more out in space. Maybe, he's that key for that run game to, get open. And I have the Ravens winning this one. It's going to be very close, though. That Steelers is very good, but I think the Ravens are going to beat them, and their win streak's going to be over with.
All right. So now we're going to move on to the next game, and that is going to be the Rams going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. A very intriguing game. This is Tua's first games as a starter. The Dolphins have been looking really good under Ryan Fitzpatrick. The defense has been clicking. So it will be interesting to see what Tua does and what he can add to this team. We're going to go to Jonathan first on this one. Who do you have between Miami and the Rams?
I will go for the Rams to beat the Dolphins. Not to say Miami will do well. I think they will because they have a very good running attack that some people give them credit for. And even with Tua showing up, I think he will do well. I don't think he will be so ready than most rookie quarterbacks right here, right now, though, because he could go legit two ways with this. Because Miami's decision was starting, because he could have started right away. Same thing with the Chargers did with Justin Herbert, or the second one, which I know some people are going to be controversial, but I'm a little concerned because I'm a little worried that Miami might pull Cleveland a few years back when they start Johnny Football when Cleveland was 7-5 and we did a good spot along with it, and they didn't do well the rest of it from here. So that's a little concern with Miami, though. Not to say he will do badly. I still believe Tua will do a fantastic job with it, and I think the Rams have a more rounded roster and more rounded group, so I'm going to pick the Rams.
Okay. Now, for me, I'm actually going to go. The reason why I'm going to go Miami is because I feel like the defense of Miami is going to be able to contain that Rams offense, even though the Rams offensively have looked really good. I think that the Rams are still going to be able to score some points, but I do think Miami has a really good defense, much better than what hi doggy, much better than what Miami or much better than what people are thinking. And I like Parker, Devontae Parker. I think he's going to be able to get his numbers in this game. And I think Tua's going to – I think that first quarter Tua's going to struggle because you're going up against a really good Rams team. However, I think Tua's good enough to where once we get to the third, fourth quarter, he's going to have it figured out. He's been learning this offense for a long time. I think he's ready. Brian Flores clearly thinks he's ready. I'm thinking a low-scoring game. So if we're going to have the over and under at 50, 55, go with the under. I got Miami winning this game barely. They're going to come in the fourth quarter. They're going to get W. They're going to win by a few points. So, yeah, I got Miami in this one. Now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this game and why?
All right, well, this was easy for me. I had the Rams. I think their defense is going to get to Tua, especially with his first game starting. I'm just saying, what they did with the Bears last week on Monday night, they couldn't do anything in that defense, man. That D-line just kept getting to Foles, and I think it's going to be the same thing with Miami. The Rams have not really a high-scoring offense, but it's very they don't really make mistakes, it seems like. They just run, do those play-action passes. I think they're like the most team that uses play-action. So, and they just do those crossing routes with Woods and Kupp, and it seems like it works for them. So I have the Rams. It's going to be probably a 21-14 game. They're not really a high-scoring offense, so.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec on this one. Who do you have in this game and why?
Damn, man, this one's tough. It's crazy because when Miami was on, even when Fitzpatrick was on, they were still winning. But then you have the Rams, who have been a surprise for me this year, 5-2. I think I'm gonna lean Dolphins because they're the Rams' only two losses have come when they're away. They are. Let me see. I had it pulled up a second ago. Away, they are 2-2 when playing away from LA. I know that doesn't mean as much without the crowd, but I think it does kind of play into, especially when you're 3-0 in your stadium. So I think I'm gonna lean Miami. They looked Tua before he got hurt was looking fantastic. Was on track for another Heisman year, I think. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with. I haven't seen Tua play horribly yet, so I will go ahead and go with Tua and think that they get on track a lot faster than the Dolphins are probably thinking they would be.
Okay. There we go. So we're split on that one.
That'll probably be my only surprise for the week too.
I don't even know if we should go over the next one. We'll just say real quick. We got the Jets going to Kansas City, take on the Chiefs. I'm going to start this one off. Kansas City.
How about this? How about we can all say the team's name to save some trouble?
Okay. So, everybody. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, and we're going to say it, okay? So, everybody, on the count of 3, even though it was the opposite. Let's unmute you, Steve, real quick. All right. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chiefs.
Almost went Jets.
I got the Jets in this game.
I like P-Ryan though for the Jets. I like that running back, Michael P-Ryan. He's pretty good.
I might start him this week.
I don't think I will. I do like him.
And also Le'Veon Bell's return to.
Look, you got Le'Veon Bell. Start Le'Veon Bell.
I don't know if he'll playing. If he'll be playing yet, I think they're still going to give the majority of the period.
He just played like 2 days ago against the Broncos.
He's only going to get a few touches. Like he's not getting much.
Well, I think he only got a few touches in that Denver game because he just got there and he was still learning it. Now I think he has a full week of practice. Now he has
his old team too. I think Andy Reid's gonna be like, you know what, it's your old team. Let me just give you the ball every time.
I think Adam Gase. I think he wants to kill the Jets just to put in Adam Gase's face.
I really hope him, man. I need some big carries from Edwards-Helaire. I got him still starting. He's been my major point getter but besides Gaskin.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I hope not. Otherwise, I got to start fielding some offers for Edwards-Helaire.
So I will say I think both Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell are going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah.
Whether it's catching the ball or running, I think Le'Veon is going to get thrown the ball a lot too, and I think they're going to be on the field at the same time for a lot of games.
Absolutely.
I really do. That way, they don't really know who they're going to hand it off to, whether it's Le'Veon or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think that's actually going to be something Kansas City does a lot this year. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Kansas City. There's really no need to discuss that. Next game we got might be interesting, but might also be a blowout. We got Minnesota going to Green Bay to take on the Packers. I'm going to start off with Steve on this one. Who do you have between Minnesota and Green Bay?
Yeah, man, this is a tough one, man, because Minnesota's like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. 1 week they look great, 1 week they just look like shit. So it just depends on which one shows up this week. Will it be Kirk Cousins who throws like 350 and 2 touchdowns, or will it be him who throws 104 picks? But I have Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers is just going to probably throw all over this team. And I think Aaron Jones is healthy. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's coming back or not. Because both of their running backs is banged up. I know that Aaron Jones is hurt, and so is Dalvin Cook. I don't know if they're both coming back or not, but I'll still have the Packers though winning this one.
All right. Yeah. Cool. All right. We're gonna go to Alec here. Who do you have in this one?
I also got the Packers. I think that after that embarrassing loss to Tampa Bay, he's just been on a rampage. I think with the performance that he had against Texas this past week, he's jumped back into at least in my opinion, he's jumped back into MVP consideration with the performance last week. And if he can have a great performance against the not great Minnesota defense, I don't know what happened to this defense, but over one off season, not good before that was the strength of this team. So I'm gonna go Green Bay on this game.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to Jonathan. Who do you have in this game?
Dumb Baba Yaga itself against the Vikings. So it's easy. It's the Packers for me. Alex said, you play pissed off Aaron Rodgers. So when you play pissed off Aaron Rodgers, you usually get blown out. So I'm going with the Packers.
Absolutely. Aaron Rodgers. I think here we have to mute everybody real quick because that noise came back and it's scary. Alrighty. So I used to think this was a pissed off Aaron Rodgers. This is a happy Aaron Rodgers, and I think that's scarier. I think when Aaron Rodgers is happy with life and loving everything, I think it's scarier. I think when he's upset, it's scary when he's really angry. But for me, I think Aaron Rodgers is super happy, very, very joyful. And that I think is going to really hurt.
I think the best thing for him, he dumped Dan Patrick. So that's one thing.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. Because she's definitely she can be a little scary. But no, like he's super happy. Devonte Adams has been playing really good football. I don't know if Aaron Jones is playing, but I don't think it matters if he plays or not because I don't think Minnesota's defense is great. I think they're improving, but I don't think they are nearly good enough to get to the point to where they can take Green Bay down. I think
Jamal Williams is a great back too. Regardless, even if Aaron Jones don't play, I think Jamal Williams can be a starter anywhere else.
Oh yeah,
so.
he played really good last week too when Aaron Jones wasn't playing. Like he's looked real good. Like I said, Devonte Adams is out there and he's doing his thing, and Aaron Rodgers will throw it to pretty much any receiver that's out there because he can make them catch the ball. Like he is one of those guys that it doesn't matter. He's kind of like Tom Brady. Give him whoever, he's going to get his yards. But I think Green Bay wins. I'm thinking they're going to win big. I don't even think it's going to be close in this one. So, yeah, I got Green Bay. Next, we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this game?
I already said mine, so.
Oh, you did? Okay. See, I didn't know if you were Alec that started first. I was like, okay, we're going to go to Steve, and then we'll go to Alec and see if he started. And if he did, then we'll go to Jonathan, see if he started. And if he did, then, we'll go from there. So, since Steve started last, we're going to go on to the next game, and that is the Detroit Lions hosting my Indianapolis Colts. We have two fans of the teams here, one fan for each team. We're going to go to Alec first. I know who you want to win, but who do you think will win?
This one's tough. This one is like legitimately tough.
Yeah.
Man, I really don't genuinely know who I think will win. Obviously, I have a certain bias.
Yeah.
I'm gonna always hate the Colts. It's just ingrained in my blood. But they're playing really well. Damn it, man! And I'll go Indianapolis. I think their defense will pull out a few more stops than Detroit. Unfortunately, that's the one thing that I think Detroit needs to work on is their defense. But man, DeAndre Swift has just come on, looking like the back he was at Georgia, kind of making up for that drop game-winning touchdown that he had in Week 1. Sorry, Steve. Dude, yeah, it's just hard for me to say against this. This Colts defense is really good. They're getting the stops when they need the stops, and Phillip Rivers isn't losing. He's not throwing themselves out of games, which is what you kind of hope for with Phillip Rivers at this age, at this point. So not throw them into it. He's having great chemistry with all the receivers. All the receivers are getting touches. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Colts, unfortunately.
All righty. So now we're gonna go to Jonathan. Who do you have in this one?
I'm actually putting my upset of the week. I'm going to actually put the Lions to win this.
Hey, fuck off.
And it's not because I don't like you, Matt. Hold on. And to be fair with Steve, because I never actually met Steve, so just want to say hello. And okay, we'll get that part out of the way. All right. The reason I'm going to pick the Lions because I think they have a very good defense, mainly a good like a secondary along with it, just a backfield along with it. And I think it might have some little trouble with the Colts on offense along with it. So I think it might be a little bit factor that I don't think it's gonna be high scoring. It just might be a low scoring game along with it. So I'm actually gonna pick the Lions.
So, going into the season before it started, before losing, like Marlon Mack, Paris Campbell, Malik Hooker, all them, looking at the schedule, I had a decent idea of, okay, they're going to win a certain amount of games, but there was a couple games I wasn't sure. And one was Baltimore, just because, I wasn't sure if Lamar Jackson was going to be able to continue what he did. Because, like I said, there's quarterbacks who have great rookie years and then they just fall off. So I wasn't too sure. So that was one I was like, I don't know. And the other was the Detroit game, because I do think Matthew Stafford is really good. I think he is one of, if not the most underrated quarterback in the league. I think if you put him on a team that is quarterback away, they're Super Bowl contenders. I really do believe that. And he's like in his early 30s. He's 32 years old. So he's got some years left. He can still give you about 5 to 8 years, I think, if you keep him healthy. I like Galladay. I think he's a really good receiver. I like Marvin Jones. I think Marvin Jones is solid. Swift is coming up. He's looking better than he did week 1. And their defense isn't the worst in the league. I think their defense is all right. It's just, for me, when I look at this game, bias aside, I got Indy winning this game. I think the Indianapolis defense having Darius Leonard back is really big. The last 2 weeks, they did start off slow, but they didn't have Darius Leonard out there to, lead them. DeForest Buckner's looking really good. He had a really good game last week. He got a sack, which is nice to see for him. The secondary, I like Rocky Sin. I like Kenny Moore. The only guy on the secondary is Rhodes. He does worry me a little bit because before this year and after that great year he had, he wasn't great. He's looking better now. I do like TJ Carey, who is really playing better than what he did in Cleveland. He looked horrible in Cleveland. He's playing much better. And look, there's a guy, and Jonathan, I know you're going to disagree with me. There's a guy I think that might win Defensive Rookie of the Year. His name is Julian Blackmon. This guy, when he came in after week 2, has been a monster. He reminds me of Bob Sanders in the way he plays. Hopefully he stays healthy, but this guy is a monster. I love him. I think really Defensive Rookie of the Year comes down to 3 guys. I can't remember his name, but he's in Baltimore. There's him, there's Chase Young, and there's Julian Blackmon. I've been loving Julian Blackmon and what he does. I think after this week, when you go up against, like the Ravens and Steelers and some of the other really good teams, that's when we're going to get a good idea of, is Julian Blackmon a Rookie of the Year or is he not? But I mean, Julian Blackmon's played great, and I love Willis too. Michael Pittman's coming back. I think that's going to help the offense. I think Phillip Rivers, when he throws the ball more than they run the ball, he can put up numbers. He got, he's been getting over 350 yards a game when their main focus of the offense is passing. He gets over 350 yards. Jonathan Taylor, I think, is getting better and better as each week goes by, and that's really good. He hasn't had that 30, 40-yard run yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. It's going to happen at some point this year because he's explosive. He's shown he can break tackles pretty easily, really big. So I do have the Colts winning. I got the Colts winning, not a blowout. I think a close game, and I think a low-scoring game. I'm thinking around 4 points is what I got in this one. It's going to be a really good game, I think. So, Steve, why do you have the Colts in this game?
Well, I don't. I have the Lions, but this is a tough one, man. This is probably my game of the week, just because, I'm a Lions fan. And, I mean, the Colts are good. The Colts defense is just really good. And the Lions, I think Jonathan Taylor, JT, is going to have a good game. They just can't. Let's see what the Lions can't stop the run on nobody they play. So hopefully they can stop Jonathan Taylor. I think Philip Rivers been playing okay. I still don't think he's playing great. I mean, he does throw the ball when there's double coverage and stuff. So I think that if the Lions can get some picks on them, I think that offense is going to be able to move the ball on the Colts. Hopefully, man. I thought the Lions were going to be able to do something against the Falcons, and all they did was nothing until that last drive. So I'm hoping that the Lions can drive on the Colts. Swift's been playing great. I can't believe that Kerryon Johnson's just non-existent in this offense anymore. I mean, he had a good rookie year. He got hurt last year, and then they're just okay, you're done. So, I mean, but Swift's been playing good. I think if you just do, run and pass, not just pass 50 times a game with Stafford, if you just, have a good combo with it, they can be a great team. So I have the Lions winning by 3 points in this one. It's going to be very close, I think. I can't wait for this game. It's going to be interesting to see if they can stop Jonathan Taylor. I think that's the key. I think if they can't stop Jonathan Taylor, then it's going to be a rough game to watch.
Sure. Now, I do have to agree with Bruce. Can we please get T.Y. in the end zone? It's been over a year since he scored a touchdown. He hasn't scored a touchdown in a year. You're on mute real quick.
When y'all play the Texans, he will score. He always has about 4 touchdowns when y'all play, especially when y'all play in NRG. Every time y'all play in I wanted to get T.Y. and Hilton because if he's playing in NRG for 8 games a year, he will become like an MVP because he tends to have a 200-yard game every time.
He wins MVP, comeback player of the year, gets breaks all of your Rice's records, breaks them all.
Exactly.
I would love that, but sadly that doesn't happen. And please, Ty, I don't know. Somebody can somebody just talk smack about Ty, whether it's Detroit's defensive guys or whatever, so he can wear that clown mask or whatever that he wore when they played against Houston in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Please, somebody.
That was so embarrassing.
I need somebody to do that. That would be wonderful. So we're going to move on to another game, which I think is pretty intriguing. We got the Las Vegas Raiders coming off of that loss, which was despicable, letting Tom Brady break the record for most touchdowns of all time in a career. They're going to Cleveland, take on the Brownies. I need to see this game. I think this game's going to be a lot of fun. But we're going to go to Jonathan on this one. Who do you have and why?
I'm going to take the dog pound. I'm going to pick the Browns on this because I think it's one of those, not say easy victory for Cleveland, but I think it's a little bit more, get a little more victories along with Cleveland to build up some people I think we're for real along with it. The past Browns teams, this is more for real, and our record might show it along with it. So I think I'm not saying this one might be a statement win, but I think this is kind of show Cleveland hey, I think we're going on this control. And we saw in the last game that they can do it without Odom Beckham. And basically, I think they were going to build off from it. And I think it will show Baker Mayfield to do a little more better than the last game.
Right. This is a game, like I said, it's going to be quite intriguing. You have Cleveland coming off of that great win, wonderful, wonderful ending to a game. Going up against a Vegas team who is coming off of a loss where the defense gave up 45 points to Tom Brady. This is a big game for both teams because they are both in the hunt for the playoffs, and there are 7 spots this year instead of 6. so there is a much higher chance to make the playoffs. So if Cleveland can win this game, it's big for them. They're 5-2 at this point. So it's going to be a big help for them. Vegas is 3-3. 4-3 would be big because that would put them in the playoff hunt. This is going to be a high-scoring game because Vegas has the offensive weapons to put up a lot of points, as does Cleveland. But Cleveland is missing Odell, and that's why I'm going with the Raiders. I think the Raiders win this game. It's going to be high-scoring. It might be like 42-35, something like that. It's going to be really high-scoring. I think if they can hold Myles Garrett back from getting to Derek Carr, if they can get him away from Carr, I think he's going to have a big game, yards-wise. Because that is where Cleveland starts to look bad defensively, is once you get away from that defensive line, mostly because of Myles Garrett. It's very difficult to contain him, but if they can, Raiders can win this game. Odell is why I'm also going with the Raiders. If Cleveland had Odell, I might lean more towards Cleveland, but I do feel like this is going to be a game where you need everybody offensively to win. And I think the Raiders are for real. So I'm going with the Raiders. Look, if you can beat Kansas City, I think you can beat a lot of teams in this league. So I'm going with the Raiders in this game. Now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one and why?
All right. Well, first, it's just shocking seeing the Browns at 5-2.
Right.
I live in Columbus, Ohio, so it's just just seeing everybody now all excited watching the Browns. During the B-dubs and seeing like it packed full of people cheering. It's great, and I think with that Odell injury, it's big, but they have a rookie receiver named Donovan Peoples-Jones from Michigan. He's big, fast, and he's talented. He's going to be a big asset now that Beckham's hurt. So I think he's going to fill that spot pretty good. I mean, he got hurt and he had 4 catches last week, and he got a touchdown. So, I think the Browns don't do it. The Raiders are really good though. Like you said, they beat the Chiefs. I think Gruden's got that team together. I like Josh Jacobs, and I like. I'm not really big. Like their receiving core is still not the greatest. I mean, they have Aguilar, Winfro, and Henry Ruggs, but Ruggs is. I don't know. He seems like he's going to be injured. He reminds me a lot of John Ross, where he just gets hurt a lot. It seems like his first couple of weeks he was just hurt for like 3 to 4 weeks. He's just back. He don't really get the targets though. He gets long passes. He'll have 3 targets for like 80 yards and a touchdown. So, I mean, he's fast. I think that, like you said, it's going to be a high scoring. I think Josh Jacobs. I think if they can run on Cleveland, it's and control the time a little bit, it's going to be a good game. I know the Browns winning though, probably by 7 points.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this is going to be a great week of NFL football for sure. A bunch of kind of evenly matched teams that are going up against each other. I've been betting against the Browns lately, man, and it's been biting me. So I think I'm going to go with the Browns this week. Baker seems maybe a little less stressed out when he doesn't have to worry about stroking OBJ's ego. When he can just sit in the pocket and throw the ball, he seems to be a lot more comfortable. Kareem Hunt's playing great. Maybe he can get Austin Hooper a little bit more involved in the offense, because that's a big signing that they got, and you haven't really heard much from Austin Hooper. So with that being involved, Jarvis Landry playing great. He's well equipped to step up in OBJ's absence. So I'm gonna go to the Browns with this one, man. The Raiders seem to be off and on. They don't seem like they click one week and they don't click the next week. Obviously, they didn't click last week, so maybe this will be a different week. But I'm gonna go the Browns. I feel like I've bet against them too long. They've been biting me, and I gotta put some respect on their name.
Now, I do believe Austin Hooper is doubtful for
Is he doubtful?
Sunday. Yeah, because he was out this past
Harrison
week.
Bryant, man. Harrison Bryant's stepped up when I know he stepped up this past week too. And
the Jotu's bad.
Yeah, I was
Joe
gonna say,
Yeah, the Jotu's bad.
yeah. So,
And Jarvis Landry's been battling with a broken ribs or something. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
they're saying that he's been saying that he hasn't been 100% since week 1.
Yeah,
which is
so
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's not 100%.
Yeah, imagine when he is at 100. Did we start with Jonathan on this one?
No, you started with me. That was the
Oh, I
first
did. Oh, okay.
No. You start with Jonathan.
one. So, John is next.
You started with me, then Steve, then Alec.
I say because you just went. That's why I was like, did we start?
my bad.
Did we
No,
start
that
with
happens.
Jonathan? I thought we did, but
I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Not my fault.
Oh, you're good. I just needed to make sure real quick. I thought, but we never can be too safe. So now we're gonna move on to the next game, and it is the Tennessee Titans going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. A very intriguing game because besides the Buffalo game and the Denver game, we the people believe in Peoples Jones. We'll see. We'll see. I don't, but we'll see. No. Anyway. But this is intriguing because besides the Denver game and the Buffalo game, Tennessee's defense has given up over 30 points to everybody they've played, besides Pittsburgh, I believe, which they lost to Pittsburgh. I do believe when they played Pittsburgh, they allowed 27 points instead of 30, but they've allowed quite a bit of points a game, and they're going up against a team with Joe Burrow who can put up big numbers. I think Joe Mixon is back. I could be wrong, but if he's back, that's obviously another big piece for the Bengals offense. But with that being said, I still got Tennessee winning this game. I feel like Cincinnati is going to score a lot, but I feel like Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are going to do well in this game because Cincinnati's defense isn't that great. So I do think while Cincinnati's secondary is actually decent, I do believe Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are good enough to where they're going to be able to get their numbers. Derrick Henry, he's starting to come alive like he did last year. That's not a good sign. So I think he's going to have another big game today. Not sure about like 200 or anything like that, but he should be able to get over 100 yards with ease tonight or Sunday. So I'm going to go with Tennessee in this game as much as it hurts. Would love it if they lose, so please prove me wrong. Joe Burrow, I have no trust in you. You're going to lose, Joe Burrow. Somebody send that to Joe Burrow so he can my words. I love that. So I can see the Colts tied with Tennessee potentially after this week. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I doubt the Titans. I mean, I just think that the Bengals O-line is just not good. Joe Burrow takes hits every game. I mean, he's a great quarterback. He throws like 300 yards a game, and the Bengals defense ain't good either. It's going to be, I think it's going to be like high scoring. Like I don't think no one's going to stop. I think the Titans might be able to stop them some 3 and outs with some sacks. I think it's going to be probably Titans going to take this one probably by 14. I think that the Bengals can't stop Tennessee's offense, and the Titans can, like I said, at least get pressure on Burrow enough to get some sacks or have him throw it away or something.
Right.
So yeah, Titans for me.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. I know who you want to win as well, but who's going to win this game?
The Titans, man. That defense in Cincinnati is bad, and now they just traded Carlos Dunlap, so it's another big piece from their defense that they're missing, which is probably maybe the only piece on their defense. So man, I think the reason the Titans lost last week is because the Pittsburgh Steelers are a legit great defense, and were able to shut down Derrick Henry, forced Tannehill to step back in the pocket and didn't play great. And I mean, and he even came back in the fourth quarter or in the second half. So the Cincinnati Bengals defense is not going to get anywhere close to stopping Derrick Henry. He's going to have a great game. I might not start Tannehill for that reason. They might be too far ahead at some point. So, I love the Bengals. I mean, I love Joe Burrow. He's been fantastic. If I would have started him last week, he would have put 40 points up for me. If I didn't start him, because that was my stupidity. But
I started him.
Yeah, luck. It was between him, Tannehill, and Baker. And I said, the last time Baker and Joe Burrow played against each other, they both kind of had iffy games. And Tannehill ended up having the horrible game, and both guys ended up putting up over 30. So.
Yeah, that's why I won, man. Freaking, I won on my lead to Burrow, putting up 40 points. I'm like, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go Tennessee for sure.
Okay. So we're gonna go to Jonathan next. I do have to get my dog his food and water real quick, so I'll be right back. So Jonathan, who do you have in this one? And if I'm not back when Jonathan's done, we'll start with Steve on the next game, which is the Patriots and the Bills. So Jonathan, who do you have winning in this one?
This is going to be very easy for me. I'm going to pick the Titans to beat the Bengals very easily. It's not even close because they had Derrick Henry, and they're going to basically pulling pins around the Bengals D-line. So basically, that's pretty much it. All I can say about it.
Well, okay.
All right.
So it's the Patriots and Bills?
Yeah,
yes.
Patriots and Bills, you start.
This is going to be this is a tough one because how the Bills played against the Jets, who knows now. So, but I think they'll bounce back, and the Patriots been having a rough couple of weeks. So, and I don't know if Cam's starting or not. That's a toss-up too. Is Cam Newton going to play for the Patriots, or is it going to be the other guy? So, I saw he got benched last week. I think Josh Allen's going to have his way against the Patriots. I think they need to get Singletary more involved. The past few weeks, the Bills haven't really. Singletary hasn't really been doing anything. That defense is really good, though. They had a rough go offense-wise against the Jets, but that defense is always solid. So I think the Bills are going to beat the Patriots.
I'm going to also go Bills. I think this will actually be a lot closer to what the Jets and Bills game probably looked like, because the reason the Jets were hanging around for so long is because the offense took forever to get started. But the Bills defense kind of hung tough in there. Was holding New York to field goals. I think there was one touchdown scored by them.
Yep,
but
P. Ryan scored.
So other than that, I mean, they kind of took care of them, and then that second half was a whole different story. I need to see that how Cam looks, man. Starting to wonder if maybe the COVID did kind of have some kind of long lasting effect, because he looks like a completely different player. He's overthrowing guys, he's underthrowing guys, and just kind of not looking like himself over the first couple of weeks that he did. So I'm gonna go towards the Bills as well, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots come out looking great, because you know how Bill Belichick is. And
yeah, the Patriots really needs to get that run game more involved. It seems like they have Damian Harris, and he had that one good week, and then it seemed like they just say, okay, that's it. It seems like they just need to get. Because I think Damian Harris, other than Sony Michel, is that actual running back. You have James White, but he's more of a passing back. I think Damian Harris can be that running back.
I think they stopped it when Cam was more involved, more in the run game. So maybe after COVID, after he got it, maybe they kind of switched back on that.
Yeah, man. As someone who had COVID, you are short of breath, dude. I had COVID for a couple of weeks, and when I went back to work, I was kind of like breathing heavy when I swing. All I do is swing a hammer or turn a wrench or something, and it was just I had to stop at certain points because it does get hard to breathe. And so I think he is maybe still feeling the effects of it. Maybe take the ball out of his hands a little more, and that's up to Bill Belichick to figure out, because he's supposed to be the genius. Got to figure it out.
Yeah. But if Cam don't stay that, if Cam says he's good, then you can't really say, okay, let me just take you out. But
yeah, you're not wrong on that point.
All right. Let me get my pick out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Buffalo. It's very easy for me because I think this is not only that, maybe in my opinion, an easy win, but I think it's sort of a statement win for the Bills. Finally defeat some of the demons out of the past AFC East. For maybe like the last 20 years since the Patriots took over that division. I think this is sort of a statement win for the Bills that we're going to take over the AFC East from now on.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. They just haven't. I think they need to get back on track. They haven't looked the same since they had that kind of blowout loss to Tennessee. So I know the Bills really trying to get back on track.
Hopefully Josh Allen just stays poised. There he is. There's Mr. Matt.
Yeah, sorry, I had to feed my dog and water him, and then I got my food.
All right.
So.
Well, you're up, man.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, well, did Jonathan give his picks for the Patriots game too? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have Buffalo winning this game. Buffalo has not looked great the last, say, 3 weeks, and I would even say after week 2. Like, since week 2, they haven't really looked that dominant. They barely beat Miami when they were still figuring things out. They had to come back. Well, they blew a lead on the Rams, then trailed in that game, and then came back to win. Then they looked not great against the Titans at all. They looked quite bad. They didn't look good against the Chiefs as well, and they struggled with the Jets. So it's not looking good for Buffalo. However, I think Buffalo wins. They'll probably win in a close game. I think Cam Newton's going to play better. But, I mean, I have, no faith in the Patriots right now. I did say before the year started, New England was going to finish 3rd in the AFC East. So it'd be Buffalo, Miami, then New England. And I kind of had a feeling Cam Newton was going to play great. I was starting to eat my words those first couple weeks. Then COVID hit, and then Cam Newton just has not looked nearly the same. He has no help. So maybe, I don't know, maybe New England trades for a receiver, and then that maybe turns things around. But I got Buffalo in this game winning. I'm thinking probably a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think a touchdown would be what we're looking at right now. So, yeah, now we're going to move on to our first 4 o'clock game, and that is the Chargers going to Denver to take on the Broncos. 2-4 teams playing against each other in this game. I'm going to start with Steve on this one. Who do you have winning in this game?
Oh, yeah, man. I've got the Chargers. Justin Herbert's been playing fantastic the past few weeks, man. I think that he's just going to continue doing what he's been doing the past couple of weeks and just throwing all over Denver's defense. I don't really like Denver. Their offense is struggling. They can't really do much. Melvin Gordon's been playing pretty good, but yeah, I just don't like their offense at all. Their defense is okay; they're not great, but I think the Chargers will be able to throw all over them. I think Herbert's going to have another fantastic game, probably another 300-yard game, and a couple touchdown passes. So, yeah, Chargers.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
I'm also going to go to the Chargers. The Chargers might be the best 2-4 team in the league right now. They just run the tough matchups. Literally against the Buccaneers, they had probably the best game that's been played by a rookie quarterback this year. With Justin Herbert, and they still ended up losing that game. So I really like the Chargers. I didn't, and trust me, I was the one that said that I thought Herbert was going to be a bust, and I am just eating my words like crazy. And with the Broncos, man, I was expecting more from this team, honestly. I love Jerry Jeudy. And apparently I don't know how to evaluate talent because I had high expectations for Jerry Jeudy. He's just kind of taking a while to get started, man. Hasn't looked great. Tim Patrick is the guy on the Broncos who has been overshadowing him. So, and I mean, if Philip Lindsay can really get his feet under him, he just seems to be always hurt. But he's such a great running back. If he could just get his feet underneath him, they'd be much better. But yeah, for now, I got to go with the more consistent team who just seems to be on it, even though they're not winning every week. Seems to be on it every week. So I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Jonathan. Who do you have in this one?
I'm going to pick the Chargers, and I just want to say I'm very impressed at Justin Herbert's rookie couple starts last couple weeks. Until he finally got his first one last week after pretty much, I would say, the Charger curse, in my opinion. Oh, the Chargers curse, like here. You may have left San Diego, but you never left some of your past demons. So that's all I can say on that for the Chargers right here. And also, I thought he put up maybe a great rookie year, in my opinion. I think it would not be surprised, like maybe the end of the year he might get rookie of the year or offensive rookie of the year when the year is done. So I will put a little easy win. We'll get to the Chargers.
All right. This is really difficult for me to pick because, yes, Justin Herbert has been looking really good. Yes, the Chargers, while they are 2-4, have looked pretty good. They looked like they were going to beat New Orleans for a little bit. They almost beat Kansas City. They looked, really good. I'm taking Denver. This is my upset pick. I'm taking Denver because I feel like, yes, that offense was struggling, but they were pretty, they had a lot of injuries. Drew Lock came back, had to play against the Chiefs. Not a great game to come back to. You're not going to look great in that game. Kansas City has a very underrated defense. I think their defense is top 5 in the league. Like, it looks really good. They're able to cause a lot of trouble to Baltimore offensively. But so, seeing Kansas City's defense, the way they played, coming back first game in that situation, not great. And yeah, I know the Chargers, they played well with Herbert against Kansas City in week 2. But Kansas City's game plan probably didn't have Justin Herbert involved. So I do think that played a part into it as well. I believe Sutton is coming back, Courtland Sutton, which would be really big if that happens for Denver, because really good receiver. I like Jerry Jeudy. I think Denver wins this game. I think Drew Lock is going to play much better. And I think Denver's defense is average. So I do think they're going to win that game. Now, if Drew Lock gets hurt in this game, then yeah, Denver's going to lose because you're not going to win unless you have Drew Lock on your team. So there is that. Next, I believe we're starting with Steve. Did you do this one already? Okay, we did. Mine is everywhere. So we're going to move on to the next game instead. And the next game is going to be the 49ers going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. We're going to go to Alec because he just came back. So we're going to go to Alec on this one. Who do you have between the 49ers and the Seahawks?
Ah, man. Normally I'd say easy. The Seahawks have been playing fantastically. But I am a big believer in divisional games are never easy. Especially in the NFC West. The NFC West is super tough this year. Should look at it. Because the NFC West at the moment they're all above 500. Every team in the NFC West is above 500. I would say, you would say, 49ers have a bunch of injuries on the defensive side of the ball, but the Seahawks are not a very good defensive team. So it comes to a toss-up. I'll go with who the better quarterback is, and that's Russell Wilson. I think that he's having, probably the year of his career, honestly, the best season of his career. So I'm going to go Seahawks. I'm not really much else to say except, divisional game is going to be hard fought. It'll come down to which quarterback you trust in the later stages of the game, and I'll give the ball to Russell Wilson every single time before I give it to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Jonathan. Who do you have in this one?
Like Alex said, this is the NFC West, and I predicted it before the season started. It's going to be real tough that a lot of people are getting the credit for, because since the playoffs expanded to 7 seeds, it will be most likely that pretty much all 4 teams are going to be in the playoffs, and the NFC West might be most likely, for example, and might possibly happen. That being said, I'm going to pull an upset. I'm going to pick the 49ers to beat the Seahawks because, yes, if I pick a better quarterback and maybe help win my game, I will definitely pick Russell Wilson hands down. It's not even close. But I think it will be a close game. I will think, in my opinion, the 49ers defense, even though they lost Nick Bosa and Dee Ford, I still think they will maybe potentially might stop Russell Wilson right here if the game gets very tighter and close. Not only that, or even maybe Jimmy G might drain down the field. Like I said, the Seahawks defense, it's not sort of the best. And I think it's going to be more closer game. So I'm going to pull an upset here. I'm going to pick the 49ers to beat the Seahawks.
All righty. I got Seahawks. I don't think they're happy about their loss against the Cardinals. They truly believe they had that game, and then they lose. I think the 49ers are looking better than they have been in the last few weeks, but I just don't think they're good enough to take down the Seattle offense, because not only do you have Russell Wilson, you have Tyler Lockett, who had a great game. You have DK Metcalf. You have Chris Carson, who is he playing? Because if he is, that's going to be – oh, he's not? Okay. You don't have him.
No. And they're saying that Carlos Hyde might not play either. So
okay. So
it's a hamstring.
You have Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. That's it offensively. But I don't think the 49ers offense is good enough to keep up with Seattle's offense. I think this could potentially be a shootout, but Seattle did get Dunlap, who is going to help their defensive line, assuming he plays. I doubt it, but if he plays, that's going to help Seattle's defense. Jamal Adams, I think, is coming back, unless he's out for a while, but I'm pretty sure he's coming back. So if they have him, that's obviously going to help, because so he didn't practice, so he is probably not playing. But I do think, regardless whether it's a shootout or not, I don't think the 49ers offense is as good as the Seattle offense. And I think Seattle is going to be able to continue to score, while I think the 49ers will be stopped a few times. And I think that's going to be key. So I got Seattle 4 to 7 points. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Seattle's going to win. I like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's playing fantastic this year. And, the 49ers just has a lot of injuries. Running backs are injured. Receivers are injured. I think who's the receivers? Deebo Samuel, is he hurt? I don't know if Deebo's.
I don't think so.
No? Well,
no, I think he's playing.
Okay, well.
I think Deebo is back.
Is he back? Okay. But I still think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Jimmy G's getting his feel back and getting, back into that offense. And I think it's going to be like 38-35. But Seattle's defense is just not great. I think anybody be able to throw on them. And it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think that rookie receiver for the 49ers, Ayuk, he's going to have a big game. Oh, yeah, he's going to have a big game this week. I like him, too. I think give the ball to Kittle. If you give him the ball 15 times, can't go wrong with that, man. He's such a big body. So but I still have the Seahawks, Lockett and Metcalf. Metcalf's humongous, man, as a receiver. He is so big. And You know, it must be scary tackling him, man. Him getting the ball, man. I wouldn't want to tackle him either. But yeah, Seattle.
Alrighty. So now we're going to move on to our last 4 o'clock game, and then we'll get into Sunday night and Monday night. And that is the Saints going up to Chicago to take on the Bears. Bears are coming off of a loss to the Rams, not looking too great. And then you have the Saints coming off of a very big win against the Panthers. We're going to go to Jonathan first. Who do you have between the Saints and the Bears?
Oops. I'm gonna pick the Saints. It's a very easy one for me. Chicago. I just never buy Chicago with that record currently because it just felt like always nice defense, mediocre at best in offense. It doesn't matter which quarterback you put. And even granted they're sort of 4-2, but at the same time, I felt like if you play like real teams, I think that was just showed the real witnesses. Even with their defense, I don't think it won't be enough. So I'm gonna pick the Saints over the Bears.
Okay. So for me, this is very, very interesting because I think this game is going to really come down to one thing. Is Michael Thomas playing? Michael Thomas did practice today. I don't know if he is out. I haven't read anything about him being out. He's questionable. I know that, but he hasn't been ruled out yet. He did return to practice, which is good for the Saints. So if the Saints can get him back, I think it's going to be really big. But regardless of that, I'm going to go Saints. I got Saints winning this game by a field goal. I think Nick Foles is going to play a lot better than he did against the Rams. The Saints defense isn't quite as good as the Rams defense, so I don't think he's going to struggle as much. I don't think the Bears have a good run game. They do have a talented receiver in Allen Robinson. That guy's not going to be easy to contain. But I do believe
if he plays.
Yeah, well,
They're saying
I think he's playing Allen Robinson. I think.
they're saying he might be out for like concussion or something.
Oh,
that's what I was hearing.
Oh, if he's out, then I mean, bump that up to.
I'm not. They're saying he's questionable with that concussion or something.
Okay.
He hasn't practiced this whole week. I don't think.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's playing or not.
If he's not playing, then bump that total to 7 for the Saints to win by. Definitely bumped it up. I think the Bears do have a good enough defense to where they're going to give Drew Brees some problems. But Drew Brees has one mission in mind right now. It is not to win a Super Bowl. It is to pass Tom Brady and have a better year than him when it comes to touchdowns, because Tom Brady passed him in touchdown passes for a career. Drew Brees wants that record. I honestly think Drew Brees probably did not retire because Tom Brady is playing. If Tom Brady was retired, I think Drew Brees would have retired. He had that NBC contract ready to go. So I do think Drew Brees is going for the record. That's his motivation right now. I got Saints in this game. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this is one of the tougher ones for me. Because, like, I picked the Saints, but, I'm like, the Bears is great. Bears are playing good. They had a tough one against the Rams on Monday night. But their defense is solid. And the Saints defense ain't that great. So, like you said, I think that the Bears is going to be able to, do a lot better on offense this week than they did Monday night against the Rams. And I don't know, man. The Saints, they're playing good, but they haven't really been playing great. I like the Bears defense a lot. I'll pick the Bears by 3 points in this one. I think that they're going to be able to stop stop Drew Brees, and we'll see if Michael Thomas plays. If he plays, it's going to be another factor. But if he doesn't, I think it's going to be harder for Drew Brees to get his offense going. So yeah, I have the Bears in this one by 3.
Okay.
So
now we're gonna
go from the Saints to the Bears.
Oh yeah. Now we're gonna go to Alec and his dog behind him right now. Hi, dog.
Can you see him?
Yeah, he's just looking at the screen. We're gonna
He's falling asleep.
Okay.
I'm gonna go, and this one comes down to me with even though Nick Foles has been there, the offense still isn't great. It's more come down to the fact that they're just the Bears are kind of hanging around and all that, and their passing defense is fantastic. I think the Bears have a great passing defense. Their run defense, not so much. Their run defense hasn't been that great, which is surprising because you got Khalil Mack up there in the front, but it just seems to not be clicking. So I think Kamara's going to end up having a big game. It'll take some of the pressure off of Drew Brees because even though we've known Sean Payton to not really like having to rely on the run game, since he's had Kamara, he has had no problem relying on a run game if he has to. So I'm going to go the Saints with this week. It's going to be a close game, maybe like a touchdown or a field goal game type deal for that. But yeah, I'm going to go the Saints on this one, even though the Bears have a better record. But I think they've not only gotten lucky, but their defense has been showing up when it has to. But I don't know about this week. This one's a tough one. Oh, you're muted, Matt.
Yeah, you're muted, Mike.
Okay.
There you
go. Sorry.
I hear you now.
Awesome. So now we're going to move on to a despicable Sunday night football game that should not be the Sunday night football game. Can we do a flex thing and have, I don't know, have the Steelers and Ravens as a Sunday night game instead of the Cowboys and the Eagles? This is terrible.
Yeah.
Can we please? I mean, these are terrible night games. I mean, there's better games they could choose, but no, we're gonna take a rivalry that is going to result in a really good game. We're gonna put that at 1:00. We're gonna give you 2 bad teams going up against each other. So Dallas has your local grocery store cashier as their quarterback. You have Carson Wentz, who's trying to improve and get back to where he once was. And, you just have a Dallas team that's just disgusting and sad and terrible. I'm sure everybody loves it but it is a disgusting team that nobody wants to be a part of. So we started with Jonathan on the last one, right? Okay, cool. Just making sure. I'm going to start off with this disgusting game. I got the Eagles. Eagles win. And I'm telling you what, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, trade Carson Wentz for a 7th-round pick, go with Jalen Hurts. If you lose to a Dallas Cowboys team who has a defense that will give up 50 points a game, it seems like, with Ben Naguzzi, whatever his last name is, he does, until he does well, he doesn't deserve to have me say his name right. You have Ezekiel Elliott, who fumbles the ball 3 or 4 times a game. You have Amari Cooper, who, is good, but isn't going to be able to do much because of, the quarterback they have. The offensive line is not that great. It's not the worst, but it's not that great comparing to what we've seen in the past. Eagles should win this game by 55 points. They should. They probably won't because it's the Eagles. It'll probably be like a 3-point game. But I still got the Eagles. It should be a blowout. But we're talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys here. It'll probably be close. So there we go. Now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I got Philly too. The Eagles is just as bad, I think, as the Cowboys. I mean, not just as bad, but it seems that they can't do anything either. I mean, they came back last week, but I really thought that they was just going to lose. I mean, the other good comeback that Carson Wentz had, I think the only way the Cowboys has a chance is if Zeke gets the ball 50 times and they just try to give him on some screen plays, and hopefully that line can block for him, because it seems like they just can't do nothing, like nothing at all on offense. They have some decent receivers in CeeDee Lamb and Cooper, but what's the use of having receivers if you have no one to throw them to? So it's going to be. I think it's just going to be a rough game for the Cowboys again. And Philadelphia, I really like that receiver, Fulgham. He is really good. I like him a lot. He's been playing good the past few weeks. I think Wentz found his go-to guy. He is big and he gets the catches. And like you said, I think they're going to be able to. Wentz better be able to pass all over this team. And I think Miles Sanders is still hurt, but Bart Stopp, he's a solid back too. So I think he's going to be getting those passes. And the Eagles should win this one easy. I have them winning by 17 points at least.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
You're muted.
You're muted.
The Eagles. I don't think it's much to talk about here. One team's lost both of their quarterbacks. I doubt Andy Dalton will be ready. That was a nasty hit. I don't know if he's still in concussion protocol, but if he's not, I'd be surprised. Whereas you have the Carson Wentz makes you wonder why this guy's still on the field, and then he throws that great touchdown pass to Boston. Was it Boston Scott? To win the game last week, so then he does things like that, and you're just kind of like, I don't know what to think with this guy. But it comes down to who's got the better quarterback, in my opinion, and it's over whoever even over Andy Dalton. I mean, Carson Wentz is better than Andy Dalton, so I'll go the Eagles in this trash division.
I didn't say it, but you did, so
I'll say it for you. It's fine.
So now we're gonna go to Jonathan. Two teams he loves. He loves these teams as a Washington fan. Who do you have in this one?
Philly. Let's just move on.
Okay, Philly. All right. So now
Philly.
There you go.
I don't blame
There
you.
you go. I don't blame you for that pick at all. So now we're gonna go to our Monday night game, which has one good team and one bad team. Then again, I'm asking myself, why is this game a Monday night game? And that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Giants. And it makes me think the Giants can have 2 night games, but the Colts have a Thursday night game in Tennessee. This is just disrespectful. Let's bump the Ravens Colts to a night game. We're going to go to Steve first on this one. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, this is just an easy one. I have Tampa Bay. I just think that they're just way better than them. Offense and defense. It shouldn't be close. So, yeah, I have Tampa Bay big.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this game?
It's not much really else to say. It's the Bucs. The Giants are just bad, man. It sucks, but they're bad. There's not really much else to say. They're bad. The Buccaneers are good.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go to Jonathan, another team he loves, going up against Tampa Bay. Who do you have in this one?
Gonna go Cody Hall's team, Pewter Power, going for the Bucs.
All righty. I know Cody Hall is going with the Giants in this game, and Harloff is going with the Bucs. But for me, I'm going to go with the Giants. Is what I would say if I'm an idiot. I'm going Tampa Bay.
I was about to say.
Look,
You're about to get the show taken away from you.
I would love to see the Giants win this game because I think it would be hilarious to see Tom Brady lose to the Giants again, even though he probably only lost to the Giants 2 or 3 times in his career, even though 2 of those games he lost were very important. Bark, 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 bark. Bark. No, I got the Bucks winning this game. Here's the thing with the Giants. Their defense is actually pretty good. Statistically, they're a top 10 defense, I believe, which is crazy because that offense in New York is so bad. But I think the Giants have a better defense than what's credited for. But their offense is so bad. I mean, look, they have a quarterback that will run wide open, nobody around him for 30 yards, and then just trip at the 12-yard line. That's what the Giants have. I like some of the guys they have, like Ingram, Golden Tate, but no, Tampa Bay is just too much. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout, but I do think Tampa Bay is going to win by like 10 points, maybe 14, but I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. I think the Giants are going to be able to get a couple of weird plays that will get them some points. So that's why I'm going with Tampa Bay. And Antonio Brown, I don't think plays until next week. That might be where we might see Tampa Bay really maybe struggle more offensively because you're going to have Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and Godwin. It's like you got to figure out who to throw it to and get people their numbers, and that might actually make it very difficult for Tampa Bay for at least for a week. And then Tom Brady will figure it out like he always does, and then they'll win the rest of their games. So there you go. But yeah, that is all of our games. So thank you everybody for tuning in to Inside the Horseshoe this week. We're going to go around the table. We're going to see where you can find everybody, and then we'll say goodbye. So Steve, where can the people find you at?
Oh, nowhere special, just pretty much here. Me and my brother do a podcast sometimes. It's called That's BS. And that's pretty much it, man. Appreciate you having me on here.
Definitely. Now we're going to go to Alec. Where can the good people find you?
You find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. Talk sports. My most recent one, you can probably find me berating the Kevin Cash, the manager for the Rays, for that idiotic pulling of Blake Snell. So you can find that, or you can find me every Wednesday at ANS Podcast on YouTube. I post the link all over my Twitter and all that good stuff, where me and my friend, we talk UFC. So we took this past week off, so next week we'll be talking about UFC 254, where the fantastic Khabib Nurmagomedov announced his retirement from UFC. So you can find that, and that's every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So enjoy, and I hope to see y'all there.
Absolutely. I did put money on Khabib to win. I think he was going to play George St. Pierre. I think that's what they had him play, who he was going to play against in March, and then he announced his retirement. That is now void, which means I won't win money. So thank you, Khabib. I'm not going to say anything else because you'll beat the shit out of me, and I don't want you to do that. So have a good retirement, Khabib. But we're going to go to Jonathan now. Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, JetPay1098, and you also can find me on Facebook on Jonathan Peck. I'm in charge in Sportswell in TMG Entertainment, and that's pretty much it. And it's good to be back.
Awesome. And you can find me. You can find me on this channel, doing random shows after dark, sometimes Movie Mania, depending on what's going on that day. And so much more on this channel. Actually, that's pretty much it on this channel. You find me on this show, of course, but besides that, that's pretty much all I'm on. So that's going to do her for today. Thank you guys for tuning in this week to Inside the Horseshoe. I've been Matt. That's been Steve. That's been Alec. That's been Jonathan. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.